Jazz hands. Everybody get your jazz hands up. Thank you for the resubscribe, Vernicious. Hello, everybody, and Zero Energy Kyle. Welcome to episode 42 of PinTech Live. As you can see, we are going to be doing some more strikes and spares, trying to get this pin up and working and happy so people can play it. How's everyone doing today? Oh, Mitchell Reader's with us today, too. Yeah, everyone get their jazz hands?
Long
for
time
my
no see.
royalty-free jazz music we had this morning. Ooh,
Yeah,
nice
strikes and
jazz hands,
spares.
Vernicious.
We're doing some strikes and spares mostly because we haven't had time to actually think about doing anything else. So we're just like, well, this
Kyle,
takes
you
zero
never
effort.
admit behind-the-scenes production discussions. We're doing strikes and spares because that's what we want to do today.
It is.
As Kyle smells his Novus.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
we
making
want to
sure.
get all fixed up. Everyone loves this.
Here's your pro tip. You got to make sure you're using. You got to make sure you're putting the Novus on the Novus. So you just give it a. Yeah, it smells like Novus. It's all good.
I think you need a new cloth. That one's getting dirty. You're just putting dirt on dirt using that cloth.
You know. It's nice when microfibers don't do this super well, but when you're using like a nappy cloth, it's kind of nice because you'll have so much Novus like embedded in the fibers of the cloth that you don't like need to add Novus. You can just use it to keep cleaning. It's lovely.
Reusing. Cool.
Here's a pro
so
tip
did
also.
everyone hear that today is our 36th anniversary? It's Marco's 36th birthday. This company has been around since 1985. That is longer than both of us, Kyle.
Yeah, it really is.
Amazing. So happy birthday to Marco. Thank you for letting us do this awesome show. And of course, with that, our free shipping, free domestic shipping for orders over $99 code. Today will be, all caps, level 36. Seemed appropriate, right?
Yeah, that's a hard one to get to, I think.
Yeah.
You know? We need to
Not
thank the
looking forward
dedication
to it.
and pinball love of the founders of the company, too. Because, 36 years is a really long time to be doing anything, especially something involving pinball.
Pinball.
So,
yeah, that's crazy.
Thank
Before
you to
the
Mark and
internet
Nancy.
existed. Maybe not. But close.
Close.
Yeah, we leveled up.
Leveled up.
36.
This thing's
Nolan
gross.
said, shouldn't we be giving you guys something? Yeah, you are. You're giving us your attention by watching our show that's every Thursday, and that's amazing.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. That's dedication.
Oh, yeah, Colin. What's in the 36 goodie bag? We printed off these little 36 years of excellent Smarco stickers and some keychains that we are putting in all the packages today.
Yeah.
So a little surprise. And if you ordered throughout the week, earlier this week, then you might have also gotten some other cool swag, some Marco multi-tools and other stuff. So we've been trying to pack the packages with some fun extra goodies for y'all this week.
So buy something and get something.
Oh, thank you, Fabian. Nice. Kyle's got the tentacles. They always give you like such cool arms on Twitch, Kyle.
Let me see.
You got tentacle arms.
Dalton.
Oh, thank you for resubscribing, Wildman.
Yeah, thanks for subscribing to us at all. This is really fun. Dalton, one of our good pals in Georgia, one of our good, very insanely talented pinball player. He always comes up with like good arms for me, but I always like it when he makes me a football player. It always makes me chuckle.
Oh, yeah.
That one's pretty good.
Colin Baxter gave you purple flames.
Oh, yeah.
Marco.
Some guy I was at the arcade yesterday fixing
That's
some
awesome,
games
Mitchell.
and enjoying a beer late night. And some guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey, are you the pinball wizard? Let me buy you a shot." I was like,
Hey, you're like, yes, that is me.
"Sure, okay, yes, sir." So that was kind of cool. That kind of makes me feel like I have like purple pinball flames or something.
Are you a gray or white wizard? Have
Um,
you fought the pinball Balrog to become Kyle
uh,
the White, or are you still Kyle the Gray?
I still think I'm Kyle the Gray.
Hmm.
You know, life is all about learning, and I'll never be an expert at anything.
We gotta push you off a cliff or something.
Yeah, see if I float. We do some like witch trials or I want to watch Lord of the Rings again. I just don't think I've had like 15 hours of non-interruptible time to like sit down and watch all those
No,
movies.
you put it on the background on while you're working on your games, much like people do with our show. If
I
you
mean,
ever
yeah, I wouldn't want
want
to look
to
at me for 2 hours
replace
either.
PinTech as your background show, feel free to replace it with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Acceptable.
Yeah, you have permission to
We
leave
will not
now.
be offended. 15 hours of walking. Yeah. A Kyle the Gray is never late. True.
This game is so gross. Why am I even wasting my time? Because it's going to be
we
fun.
want to see.
Because it's a
Well-
good game.
Well, Kyle, before we get into your scrub-a-dub-dub, let's do a spotlight.
Actually, wait.
Hold up.
Before I continue any more, let me silence Xenon really quick. Because she has been screaming for the last 2 hours, and it's going to ruin our show,
Genty.
right? Give me 1 sec.
Oh, Mitchell Reader has us in the background while he's grading business tests. Don't mess up on those grades.
We will unplug Xenon's speaker. So it's still
As
pretty,
he's catching
but
up on the Super Bowl.
not noisy. Oh.
Yeah, Nolan, right? Let me silence Xenon. It's definitely something Kyle the Gray, the wizard, would say.
Okay, how about you?
Ooh, it was.
Okay, yeah, no, just roll the thing, and we'll do some spotlighting.
All
Actually,
right,
where
it's
is the
rolling.
spotlight? Oh, there it is.
It's a back glass lock rail. Very near and dear to Kyle's heart. This one.
Yeah, because I like Bally games, and Bally games rule, and it's really fun to get parts made. This is a part that I really fought for to get done. It is a replacement back glass lock bar. You know, it's one of those things, like whenever a game would come through the shop and you'd be like, why the hell is this thing not in the pinball machine? But, you know, it happens. Things go missing. Maybe someone thought the game you're currently working on is no good, so they put the part they needed in their other game, whatever. Now that we are kind of digging through some of the games that might have been looked over back in the day, some things could be missing. Maybe you have a game that you're trying to make super duper duper nice and you want new shiny parts. Now you can. Actually, I think in the past year, I've gotten almost every single bracket inside of a standard Bally head redone. We have the actual latches for the insert. I have the big bracket here for the transformer and the rectifier board. I've got this little insert stop here. All these brackets for the all of the different boards that go inside the head. Oh, do we need to turn the camera? Which one is it? This one?
No, hold on. I got it.
And now we've got this one. It's so, you know, this is the lock inside the head that when you turn the actual key, it moves this bar and won't let the back glass ride up the channel. So they do go missing. You know, it's kind of a weird thing because why would you ever need to take that out? But who knows? It's not your question to ask. But now if you have the question of where do I get a new one, we got you covered. So yeah, it's fun to get these neat things done. I was thinking maybe we'll do it on another product spotlight, but I also just got the classic Stern back glass locks done as well. Stern did it cheaper, and they mounted a similar bar, but like on the back glass. So when there was another bar in the back of the head. You know what? We'll do that next time. We'll pull my Meteor out if it's still in the studio, and I'll show you. But yeah, Allie, back glass lockdown bar. I think we were able to price this pretty fairly too. How much is this thing, Emoto? Like 20, $30?
It is. Let me grab the links for everyone.
It was expensive. I mean, this kind of stuff is expensive to get made. Especially when we're only buying 100 units, right? We could have gotten them for very cheap if we bought 1,000 of them, but you know, I don't think we need 1,000 of these guys. So we try to bridge the gap and try not to make things way, way too expensive.
Yep, $28.99.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go.
And it's in the chat. Pez Johnson says, I'll bid $2. Add a couple zeros to that and you got yourself a deal, Pez.
Yeah, you know, they're expensive to ship, you know. It's not expensive to ship, but...
Oh, Manu's in the chat. Mystery Pinball Theater 3000 said, my kid loves playing pinball on his new Marco Pinball kid stool. Thank you. Yeah, I love the photo you posted too.
I saw that on Instagram. That's cool, man. I love those stools too. I have one at home, and I use it to get things off the top shelf. Even me needs a stool sometimes. So.
Wow. That's bizarre. I didn't know they made shelves higher than.
Yeah.
What, can you reach? You could probably reach to 8 feet easily. Can you touch the ceiling there? We have really low ceilings in our studio. the drop ceiling just like goes and falls on Kyle's head. And
that's
strikes
what I was thinking. As soon as my finger was about to make contact, I'm like, oh, I know this ceiling. I shouldn't touch it.
Whoops.
Anyways, yeah, product spotlight. Okay, so what we're doing here, half because we didn't really have time to fully flesh out like something else, we are going to just kind of go through and start to sort of wrap up strikes and spares. I'm going to kind of maybe stop doing the rubbing and scrubbing with Novus. I want to do a bit of that because one thing I wanted to do was we can install some new targets. I have some new flipper bats. I have some new posts. But, you know, I wanted to kind of just look at it and see and find things that were wrong. There's a lot of posts on this game as I was removing them that were very loosey-goosey. So we're definitely going to want to go in there and even if we don't do it on this episode, we'll find one or two, but we're definitely going to want to I think we've done it on the show, using a dowel and some wood glue, filling the hole and allowing it to really tighten up. Throw some LEDs in the GI. I've got new flipper bats, and we'll take a look, and I can show you the old style of flipper, which actually had a replaceable bat. But this is a good time for us to explore and also to ask questions because it's going to be a lot of busy work today.
So you heard it. If you have any questions for Kyle today,
especially if they're pertinent to this, right? Like we've got a lot of Bally stuff. I wanted to show. I soldered them all on, but there's a real common thing I see people asking about. It's like, oh, I've got XX whatever Bally game, and you know, I swear to God, I hit these targets, but it doesn't register. Like, what the hell? I put it in switch test and it works. What's going on? Let's look at that in just a second. Bally installed a very, very small capacitor across the leads of the switch. And what that would allow was that signal to kind of hold high while the computer was running through. The way the switch matrix works, right, is you've got columns that are kind of pulsing and saying, hey, is there a switch closed? But with 1970s electronics, the speed was very slow. So slow in 2021 terms. This was blazing fast back then. But there is a chance where you would, you know, hit a ball and it would glance off of a switch real quick. And if it just so happened that it hit so quickly the computer couldn't tell if that switch was closed, if the contacts weren't closed long enough, you'd get a non-red switch hit. So Bally installed capacitors across the lead to kind of keep that signal on a little bit longer just while the computer was continuously searching for those switch closures. Anywho, what would happen is a lot of the times those capacitors would actually short out inside, and the quick and easy fix is just to cut it off. And will the game still work? Yes. Will you maybe be robbed of points that you fairly deserve? Yes, but the game still works. So a lot of people, back in the day, that was a quick fix, you cut it off, and you have a working game again. If you had a shorted capacitor, you would just have a switch that was constantly shut, right? Because you would be linking the two ends of the switch. We'll look at it. Let me just get a little more cleaning done. If you remember, if anyone was around many months ago, we were working on a Spy Hunter on the weekend one day. I got the game working, everything was great. We started a game, and as soon as you started the game, everything stopped, right? I was waiting for that music cue. And since I didn't have the back glass on, I didn't notice that every time we started a game, that the game was actually going into tilt mode. And what happened was that little capacitor on the plumb bob was actually shorted stuck. So as soon as we started the game thought it was tilted, and it was throwing me for a huge loop. But it was very gratifying to find that when it was all done. Has anyone ever experienced that? Like, anyone ever had that problem or find that? Very common. I've realized I just talked for a long time.
That was good. Vernicius said yes, but also was only born a few months ago, so got a lot of experience in pretty fast.
This game has so much ingrained dirt. It's so gross. I don't know if someone, the way they used to clean this was to just dump a bunch of mill wax on it and then just slop it around with their hand and then wipe it off or something. But there's a lot of dirt that's really stuck in places where dirt shouldn't be stuck, under the plastics, right? Let me get the camera. There's not a
let's see some close up.
There's not a ball grinding this stuff in, but this stuff is really grody under here.
Tilt it down more.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I gotta switch to mine.
Look at that.
Ooh.
This is normal, right? So these cracks here, that's just that's the varnish, the clear coat-esque sort of thing that they put on these games to protect it. I think Bally called it tough coat. You might look, if you've got a Bally game that hasn't been totally destroyed, there might be a little paper underneath the playfield that says, this game is coated with a Bally tough coat playfield. But what that is, it's just starting to crack, and those little lines are kind of similar to the ball swirl, right? You've got those little...
Oh, no!
That
was horrifying. I think I just had a mini heart attack.
Sorry, it's like an earthquake simulator. There you go. We're back online. It's kind of like a ball swirl, right? You've got a bunch of nasty ground into that clear coat. And a lot of times those ball swirls, as we've learned, right, the ball swirls are actually starting to get into the silk screened artwork. So yeah, just dirt.
Can you tilt down again? We lost our shot during that.
Oh, we did?
Oh, wait. Actually, maybe I messed it up.
I'm just kind of cleaning around. Sorry. But this is... this kind of stuff is typical. This kind of ball wear is because someone's never changed the pinball in this game. And that is also typical for these sorts of, home use only 80s games. They get stuffed in someone's basement and they play them until they break, never changing the ball, never changing the rubbers, sort of thing. So
Dan Barlow on Facebook asked, can you clean corroded lamp sockets?
Can you clean corroded what?
Lamp sockets.
It's not worth your time. Can you? Yes. Can you also get a replacement for, just a couple dollars? Yes, it's more worth your time to replace a lamp socket if it's being lazy. We kind of talked about lazy lamps a couple weeks ago in a video, and it was really annoying because, me looking at the condition of this game, I was like, oh, this thing's a giant pile of junk. It's going to have a bunch of lazy lamp sockets. I don't think we had one. But when the lamp sockets get really nasty, you know, you could spend, you know, a lot of time trying to get them nice. You could take them out and put them in an ultrasonic cleaner or something. But you can also just buy a couple new ones for, you know, $15 and put new lamp sockets in, and you won't have a problem. The sockets that Bally used in this era are just notoriously bad. They're just cheap, and the corrosion is very they're very affected by the sands of time. So, can you? Yes. Should you just replace them if they're causing a headache? Yeah, it's probably worth your time. This thing's grody, but you know.
Oh,
What's up?
is YouTube not working? Really? Says 3 people are watching on YouTube, Colin. Daniel had a question. He has a problem on a Gottlieb System 80. He says the switch on the door have to be normal, closed, or no start on MPU board.
Yeah, so the switch on the door, so Daniel's probably talking about the slam tilt switch. Gottlieb changed the way slam tilt switches were wired a bazillion times in a period of like 20 years. So a slam tilt, if you don't know, it's like a regular tilt, but it ends everything. Sometimes the games will just totally reboot. And a slam. Okay.
That was a slam tilt.
That was a total slam tilt. This camera can't sit like that anymore. It's gonna keep dumping. A slam tilt differentiates from a regular tilt in the sense that a slam tilt generally is an aggressive tilt, right? So someone has kicked the coin door in the hopes that maybe they would get a jostle the coin switch to get a free game, or maybe someone picked the game up or something like that to decrease the pitch to make it a little easier. So a slam tilt generally will just end the game in play instead of your ball, like the plumb bob will. So yeah, I mean, I guess long answer short, if the game starts when it's normally closed, then that's how it's supposed to be. If it slam tilts immediately when it's open, then change it. I'm gonna see if I could get this ground in ball trail, right? I hate these in the shooter lane, and I can feel it, like it's raised, but I don't know. Oh yeah, that is coming out. Oh, that's satisfying.
Nice.
Sometimes you can get them out enough, and then sometimes you will have a ghost of balls past stuck in, but
That's so good. So going back to the corroded lamp sockets, Kyle, Dan Barlow then asked, do you replace your Bally sockets with the bayonets?
No, I generally don't. It depends on the location, but on this game I would just I'm sorry. Yes, bayonets, yes. I would replace it with what was in it. I wouldn't go replacing it with a wedge socket, just because, I mean, that's not how it's supposed to be. I mean, that's probably the answer I'd stick with, but I don't know. I mean, I guess there's no reason not to do it the other way, but if you have the luxury of choosing and being able to get the right part, you might as well just use the right part. Then you don't need to make sure you have other lamps or something, if maybe you just so happen to have a game that doesn't use wedge-based sockets or something.
Nice.
A modern bayonet socket is going to be infinitely better than a 40-year-old wedge socket, or bayonet socket, rather. Anywho, I guess the one time that I might consider changing is I do like to get rid of these guys in the pop bumper. And I do like to change these with the wedge-based sockets because they just last longer. You can buy these brand new still, but even buying one of these guys brand new, they still suffer from the same, problems that the old ones will. Let me see if I can snip this solder that's keeping it from coming out off. I just took the pop bumpers off earlier. And I didn't want to do it on camera just because we've done pop bumpers like 10 billion times on this show. It seems like 10 billion times. Anyways, I'm not going to take it off. It's no big deal. But these things just kind of wear out. One side of the AC comes in and holds the barrel. The other side of the AC comes in and is put on the tip, right? And they get loose. You see how there's like a piece of fiber there separating them, and it's riveted together?
Whoa.
So that'll get loose, or this will lose some of its spring tension, and it'll start to sag. These kind of loosen up, and they don't stay super tight. And when you've got so much, action with pop bumpers, they vibrate a lot, and the bulbs just go in and out. I generally like to replace these with the wire lead wedge base style. It's just easier. I didn't do that on my Xenon. Here's case in point. I swapped the playfield on my Xenon 2 years ago, and I used the original sockets because I was like, oh, I'm going to keep it as original as possible, and there you go. It's got LEDs in it, but that center pop bumper still goes out, and it's a brand new pop bumper socket, so I don't know. Kind of wish I didn't do that. Sometimes that originality comes to bite you in the butt. Otherwise, this game's pretty clean. Now, let's look at some of the things I've noticed on this game, too. And then I think we'll yank the flippers out, and we can, I can show you old flippers and new flippers. The one thing I noticed in this game, and I don't know if this was like, if this is just like, dude that used to operate this game or something had mostly Williams games or something, but this ain't right. This slingshot kicker is not correct.
Oh,
you see that?
Why?
Mostly because I just know I can spot it. But the way the correct Bally one is here. Do you see that nylon head? It might be a little dark.
Yeah.
This is a Williams style. It doesn't have a little nylon head. I think it's a Williams and not a Gottlieb. It could be either or. But the one thing I do know is the way Bally did their slingshots, where the switches that activate the actual slingshot not only will send the signal to drive the coil, but they also score points. You see this little arm right there, that post coming out of the armature right there?
Mm-hmm.
On Williams games, that will actually come down and close a switch, and that's what causes the game to score points. So this is not correct, and I will want to change it. We run into a problem, though, is the arms, the actual kicking arm, that little nylon head that goes on top that I showed a minute ago, those are like super unavailable and have been for a long time. So hopefully we'll have a replacement for that soon. We're working on some 3D printed solutions to see if we can get that going. Then we'll be able to sell them again, which will be great. It'll also be great because I need one. I might dig into my parts stash and see if I have a replacement, but I don't think I do. I'm going to yank these flipper bats out.
We need some mirror blades.
Mirror blades in this old thing?
No, just in general. Dan Barlow's looking for mirror blades, and I want to replace my mirror blades too. Mine are all scratched up.
The ones on hard body?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's common. They're very thin on that old game. I'm going to use my L handle.
Nolan needs some. When are we getting some mirror blades in, Kyle? We need to sell mirror blades.
I do think we actually have some. We just need to put them on the website. Which
Kyle's
would be...
going to do that tomorrow, and we're going to all order our mirror blades.
Really? Yeah, if only it was that easy. I'm going to try to get this flipper bat out. And I want to show the difference between a 70s flipper bat and like a modern reproduction, and why the modern ones are better. But we are still going to use these old flipper bats because we can. Okay, I'm right. I didn't check, but I'm glad I was right. Let me go get a new flipper bat from my parts box really quick. So old flippers were kind of put together. We'd call it, there would be two parts. You'd actually have a bat, and then you'd have what we'd refer to as a shaft and shoe. Let me turn the camera around here, and we could sit on this really messy bench for a second.
Oh, yay. All right, I'm ready. I sent you a message about mirror blades for you to check later.
Send Marco
So
a message
exciting.
about mirror blades. He'll like to hear about
Okay.
them. Okay, so here is a flipper bat you will buy from us if you are looking for a Bally flipper bat.
All right.
You've got the actual bat that is molded with the shaft, right? This is what goes through the crank and link and spins. This is a modern way to make a flipper bat, and a lot of games were made this way through the 80s until today. They mold the plastic around a knurled shaft, and that's how you get a flipper bat. In the 70s, 60s, 50s, and even 40s, most flippers were done this way. So you had a shaft and shoe, the shaft, the shoe, and a detachable bat. I think we did a little bit of this when we were working on Time Warp, actually. We had Williams shaft and shoe bats, and then we swapped them for the, what are they called? Banana flippers.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Let me see if I can get this off. So there's usually there's a screw that threads into the plastic and holds the bat to the shaft, or the shoe, rather. So the old Bally's, I mean, you can replace it with the one piece, right? Instead of, let's call this the two-piece version. But if you have these things, I mean, there's no reason to not just replace the bat. I think there could probably be a very slight performance increase by using maybe the lighter single-piece version instead of the two-piece version. But come on, we're not going for pure performance here, are we?
Yes.
D-611-5 is the bat. And we can just slip a new guy on here, and we're good to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So why did they change it? I mean, do you know why they changed the design to the all one piece?
Do I know the actual reason? No. Can
What's
I
your
guess?
Theory, yeah.
Probably just because production changed. I mean, plastics were still a very new thing in the 50s, 60s. And it probably, between new manufacturing techniques and different materials, it probably just became easier to do it as one piece instead of making two. Anywho, it's nice. I mean, again, it's like, if you're working in a shop environment, this is a, keep a couple of these old Bally shafts around, or Bally bats around. If you know for certain that this game you're working on has bats, buy them. I like it. I don't know. I just figured it would be a neat little thing. Flipper bats are definitely a wear item too, right? On these older, less powerful flipper games, you don't see them crack as often, probably because they've been hopefully replaced once or twice. It's a lot more common on like a modern Stern or like a Williams game to have a shattered bat or a very cracked bat along the bottom. But I don't know. I guess I've seen these pretty broken too, but when someone's leaving their game out on a patio and sitting in the sun, and you see awful things happen to plastics. And people do awful things with pinball machines. Like, why would you do that? Not fair. Like that mousing around we had
dang
here.
Durable. Just leave it outside.
Hey man, the manual says for indoor use only.
Oh, do you have that's a nice question, Dan. Do you have a favorite type of flipper bat, Kyle?
Do I have a favorite type? Honestly, I kind of like the old Bally round-nosed flipper bat. I think my second favorite flipper is definitely going to be the 60s 2-inch flipper that said flipper on the top.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of my favorites. Other than that,
what was the one that you got Steve Ritchie to sign?
Oh, I just had him sign some regular white flippers. My least favorite flipper bat, definitely the lightning flipper. That thing's dumb. But I would definitely put them back in every single game that needed them. I liked Sega's flipper where they put Sonic the Hedgehog on the big round part. That was kind of
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Vernicius took you for a banana flipper type of guy. I would have voted for that.
Bananas are pretty good. I do like the banana flipper. They're interesting.
Ooh, we got a new question in, Kyle. Are you ready?
Uh-oh.
He's excited. Yeah, guys, feel free to put your questions in the chat if you want to get some advice from Kyle today. So we have Pin Guy over here saying, "Hi, I have a Bobby Orr power play,
Great game.
and the coil on the coin door chatters, makes a ticking noise intermittently. I have replaced the coil and no joy. Suggestions?" I feel like someone asked this a couple weeks ago too.
There's
right?
a few things. There's a few things you can do. Let's look at that. That's so that's called the coin lockout coil. What that will do is, if the game is at maximum amount of credits, it will de-energize, and what that causes is a coin not to be able to travel through the successful way through a coin mechanism, and it will automatically reject. Or on some games, like on an electromechanical game, if it's like resetting or something like that, and it needed 2 coins, I think if the coin lockout relay will go in while the game is resetting. So if you put a second coin in, it would reject instead of getting lost and the motor doing its job. Things to do. I mean, what it is you've got vibration, right, between this this arm here and it hitting the top of the relay, right? It's just they vibrate. There's a couple ways to solve this issue. I hate saying this, but the one way you can really solve the issue is desolder the wires and wrap them and tuck them into the harness safely. You don't need this. If you're not operating the game, you really do not need this. That is the DEF CON solution to the whole problem. If not, I would remove this piece here. This will be the same on your power play. And what you likely have is the pattern, like the shape of the actual core of this relay is going to be imprinted on here. Take it to a grinding wheel or use a file and try to get it as flat as possible. That will likely help you as well. But, you know, again, if it really, really, really bothers you, just unsolder the wires, wrap them, and tuck it away. That is the least obstructive way, and you won't ever have the problem again. Intrusive way, not obstructive. Sorry.
Nice, that's awesome. I hope you got all of that, Pin Guy, and I hope it helps solve your rattling chatter.
I like to keep everything as it's supposed to be as possible, but that is annoying. It can definitely make my it'll piss me off sometimes.
Kyle, you didn't say the jumbo flippers. I've never even seen these jumbo flippers before.
Yeah,
Ryan,
because it's a sucky flipper. Like, let's be honest. Come on, is Chicago Coin's big flipper really on your top 10 list of best pinball machines ever?
No, not big flipper, jumbo flipper.
Yeah, but I think Chicago Coin used it in a game called Big Flipper.
Well,
and
that
then
was a mess up.
You'll see it in what's it called? Hot Hand, Stern Hot Hand. That's the big old flipper at the top that rotates around and knocks it out of the little holes. So I think Data East King Kong also used a mega flipper like that too. So
really? Dang, I've never seen this giant flipper before. I feel like such a noob.
If you ever get to see a Data East King Kong, I guess that's one thing. I think we were talking about those capacitors earlier too. Can you throw on the small camera really quick?
Oh, yay. Pin Guy did it, and it did it. I think it worked. It helped.
For now.
If
you clicked
rattle.
it. But...
yeah. Hold on. For now.
So these are my new targets that I got for strikes and spares.
Oh, they're so pretty.
Yeah, nice and clean. I don't have the bag for this here. I put the bag with the part number aside, but let's look at the reason why I chose this target instead of getting a different or a fully assembled target.
Hey, wait. Josh Rainwater said the Hercules flippers are his favorite one.
God, that game is insane.
I have seen those many times.
So
All right.
these stand-up targets, right? We've got Bally and Gottlieb, I think, used a mounting bracket that was kind of shaped like a long L. So just a 90-degree bend, skinny. I think a lot of manufacturers did this also, but I know Bally and Gottlieb did this. A more modern target is going to have this same bracket, but it's going to use a wider foot here. I don't know why, but that's what Williams did, right? Anywho, I got these because I can reuse this. Bally didn't rivet their targets. We've got number 2. I think these are number 2. No, maybe these are number 5 hardwares. I don't remember what size these screws are, but to replace the target, simply, actually, this is a pain in the butt on this game. These, some of these will be hard. You see how wide this is? That's so I can unscrew this, and you have to turn the target before you put it through. On a couple of them, I'll have to remove the lamp sockets to stick them through. But anyways, I didn't need to replace the bracket, right? This is fine. It uses Phillips head hardware to remove, so we don't need to deal with drilling anything out like a rivet would be on a Williams target. So that's why I got, like, we'll call it like the target core instead of a fully assembled target. But you can see here also that you've got this goofy little ceramic capacitor here. So you've got like, I think this is the switch strobe, or so this will be the column, and this is going to be the row. I think that's how Bally wired it with the, anyways. So you've got one in here going through the diode, right? So then you've got the banded end of the diode here, and this capacitor connects the return to the non-banded side of the diode. Because, right, now a switch just connects these two wires together. That's all it does. But since this capacitor sits on the, I'm sorry, I don't remember diodes, which side is the anode, which side is the cathode, but the side with the white band is the side where juice cannot go through that way, right? The electricity will flow through this side, but it can't flow back through this side. It's a one-way valve. So that is why this capacitor can sit on this side and not cause a switch closure. But if this thing does short out, it can do all sorts of weird stuff in the matrix. So anyways, replace those and you won't have switch problems anymore.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm excited to put these in. It'll make this crappy game look a little bit better. And I think that's like the one goal maybe we should take out of this, right? And when I'm done with it, maybe we'll just do a quick overview of it. But, you know, how to take a really crummy game that's really, really rough and really bad shape and try to make it as good as we can without doing a ton of work. When I like to do this sort of a project, you know, we'll be, especially if like a customer's on a budget or it's like, oh, we've had this game forever, we'd really like it to work, but we don't want to, you know, break the bank, right? We don't want to do some crazy restoration, you know. Is there stuff missing on the playfield? Yes, that's not the end of the world to us. Okay, but there's definitely ways you can make it look a lot better without spending a ton of time in restorative things. Replacing all of the posts that you can see. Right? So we can replace the posts that are like front and center, underneath the plastics or around the slingshots. Posts don't cost very much money. I got 25 posts to put on this game in selective areas that will just make it pop and look that much better. I think this game ends up using more like 38 or 40 posts. You know, you're not going to break the bank buying 40 posts. But if you're really trying to, you know, make a game look nice on a budget, that's one way you can do it. Let's compare, right? Here is a brand new post. Here is a let's run the gambit, right? I get all these posts actually look like crap, but this one looks a little better than others. Oh, we use the small camera?
Yeah.
No, let's do it here.
Yeah, we can use it. Yeah.
Small one's better. This is a crappy 40-year-old, very faded post. We might be able to get a little bit of juice back into these by, taking the towel and saturating it with Novus and rubbing and, you know, see if we can get some color and make them juicy again. But these things cost like 80 cents. It's not worth your time to try to rejuvenate these nasty old posts when this just looks a lot better, right? And there are ways that, the way that the game's situated and plastics are situated, that you can still use some of these old posts and hide them. And use these nicer posts to just make the game pop a little bit better. Again, if you're doing something on a budget. On On the more modern Williams games, like let's talk about 80s and newer, those games are very powerful. They've got really strong flippers, and plastic gets more brittle as it ages. So you'll notice, I think, go back to the roller games episodes we did a year ago. Those posts will start to degrade, and when you have a ball just flying around the playfield with those big, strong 50-volt flippers, you will start to shatter the base of the post. These older games don't tend to do that so much. So you wouldn't need to replace these as a, super preventative measure. This is purely cosmetic, but I mean, come on, look at that. That's gross. That's nice.
Kind of gross.
Does that make sense? I kind of wish I had the game a little further along so we could kind of put that into practice a little bit, but maybe it'll make a lot more sense when we're done. And this game is like playing and such. I actually wanted to pop this thing on. I need to double check, since I did uninstall the pop bumpers, the GI bus, the general illumination bus. For the pop bumpers, there could be some wires hanging. So if we had some wires hanging and touching things, we could cause shorts and pop fuses, and let's try to avoid that. But we look like we're okay. I want to test all of our general illumination lamp sockets before I start going and re-cleaning and shoving LEDs and putting the game back together. Also, actually, one more thing. I neglected to mention this when we were talking about Bally flippers last time we were working on this game. And one of the fellas that watches this show pointed it out to me and said, hey, you really didn't talk about the isolator. So there should be an isolator on this arm here. This arm, when the flipper hits its end of stroke, actuates the end of stroke switch. Now, I think we've talked about this when upgrading the System 11 style flippers with the compression cone spring here to an expansion spring, why it's important to isolate your flipper crank, right, from the actual voltage here. The one reason I kind of didn't mention is it kind of slipped my mind. This didn't have the isolators there, but the correct end of stroke switches for an old Bally game has this piece of fish paper here. We've got one blade of the switch there, this fish paper, and then the other blade here. So this game kind of had redundant isolators already. With this piece of paper here, this can't touch a voltage source, which can't make this energized, right? But I definitely think we have talked about making sure you have the isolator on these things. I think we talked about it specifically in our roller games flipper episode, as well as the Lady Luck flipper episode. So,
what's the isolator again?
What I would use is I just use a big piece of heat shrink or something. Get some heat shrink it down, cut it. It would be extra redundant here though, right? Because there already is a little bit of an isolator with that fish paper, but on this it's not as important.
So the metal doesn't hit the metal?
Exactly, and you don't have 40-something volts jumping on your flipper mechanism. That being said, right, it's not as important here. On the Williams games that use lane change, where the lane change was also on the end of stroke switch, that can be a problem. Mm-hmm. Because if you have something going on, something's not touching, something's not adjusted where it's supposed to be, at that point you could be sending voltage into the switch matrix, which will make things explode. So you're always going to want to just try to, you don't want voltage touching things it's not supposed to. You don't want to short things to other things. So just be cognizant of that when you're working on flippers, right? Be extra safe. Why not? I appreciate Terry for pointing that out to me in an email, so I wanted to talk about that. Okay. This thing is grody. We were going to turn it on. Let's plug it in, and hopefully I didn't jiggle all those wires around and now it's going to start blowing fuses, but we'll find out.
Plug it in, plug it in.
That's right.
Oh no, if you die in the switch matrix, you die in real life.
I know. This is a dangerous job. I never got paid enough to be a pinball fixie guy. Let me get some of my LEDs here real quick from my toolbox.
This is the Invisible Kyle episode.
It is.
He's actually standing right there in front of Xenon. Oh.
All right, nothing blew up.
Oh, nice. Thanks for that link, Midge. Making your own isolators for the EOS actuator.
Say that one more time. You might have been interrupted by the chimes.
No, I was just thinking, Midge. He posted some of the heat shrinking tubing that you use to create those isolators.
Yeah, you definitely need that. Your job is going to be removing all electrical tape from all of your pinball games and all your video games because electrical tape has no place inside of your games. It's not a good, secure connection. So, for whatever reason,
we should have named this the Flipper episode, Kyle, or Kyle's Flipper preferences.
Why?
We have Patrick here asking, do you prefer Stern flippers to Williams flippers?
I am not I'm not enough of a pinball savant to notice the difference. I like both of them very much. I think I like the Stern flippers better because you have less failures than you do with the Williams flippers. And the Williams flippers are great because they have very few failures. So I think you're good either route. I don't know, do people really notice the difference between Stern and Williams flippers? I don't seem to notice much of a difference, honestly.
I think people do, especially people that play competitively. And in the big leagues where they're making some money doing it, they notice things like that.
I guess
they notice just the different types of rubbers or not rubbers that are on the flippers too.
Well, yeah, I'm real particular about rubbers, that's for sure. But I prefer white rubbers in all of my games just because they're so much bouncier and they're not as dirty. They get dirtier faster, but they don't seem to spread the dirt as much. Black rubber tends to, I notice, kind of make things a lot dirtier. But also, black rubber lasts a whole lot longer than white rubber does. So you really got a lot of pros and cons. But that being said, for when it comes to flipper rubber, it's just red flipper rubber all day long. It's so much grippier and it just feels better. I don't know why, but that's my preference.
It's all about the flippers. What about Flipper the Dolphin?
You know how many times I've been offered a free Chicago coin Dolphin pinball machines? A bazillion
you don't
times.
Have a bunch of them?
What?
You don't have a bunch of them?
No, I've never accepted them. That game is awful.
Oh.
It doesn't have a lot of...
Mitch said he's surprised that you didn't say your favorite flipper is the shark flipper from Baywatch. Actually, he's not surprised. He's really disappointed.
I'm sorry I disappointed you, Steve. I'm disappointed in myself, quite honestly.
One says, I like Williams flippers, Fliptronics for life.
I mean, I like Williams flippers a lot too, but I like how the Stern system just doesn't fail. And when it does fail, it's very simple to fix. It's just one MOSFET, right? The Williams flippers are great, but they are more complicated. I like how, as things have progressed, Stern has made things simpler and simpler and simpler and simpler, and I like that. I'm going to keep rubbing on this thing, and maybe we'll throw a quick coat of wax on it. I'm thinking one thing I might do before I really start, we start going ham wild and playing this game a bunch is I might try to build up a little bit of Mylar and some of these really bad pitted inserts. I wonder if I could catch that on camera at all.
Yeah, show us the handheld.
I don't think I'm going to be able to capture it, but let's see. We might get behind the scenes view of the studio.
I think we can capture it. No, just keep it angled down.
So do you see?
Don't break the fourth wall.
You can see here, right,
yeah,
where we've got a lot of paint wear. And that paint wear is from this insert being sunken slightly and the ball catching the edge of the wood. So as it catches the edge of the wood, it degrades the paint, and as the paint starts to degrade, it starts to chip, right? So there's a big gap right here. This guy's really sunken on the bottom quadrant and this quadrant right here. This one isn't as bad. The 3 isn't sunken as bad, but it still has a lot of wear. The 2 is just screwed up, but it's not super sunken. I was thinking about maybe trying to cut out some small Mylar crescents to build up here. So you might be able to bridge the gap a little bit. I'm not concerned about this. I want it to play well. I'm not concerned about it continuing to wear out because it will. We've just got a bunch of missing paint. But that being said, there are ways we can mitigate that issue to continue to like have it play well, even though it's a piece of junk. But it's going to be my piece of junk, and I'm going to love it.
I want to see you do that.
I'll see. I'm going to practice because I've done it to like varying success. But one thing I like to do when I'm playing with Mylar like that is to wax the game first. If we wax the game first, it actually makes it a lot easier to remove the Mylar if it is not good, for lack of a better descriptor. So I'm just going to go through. When I first got this game, before I even considered like putting it on this show, I really kind of went ham wild to try to get rid of some of the ball swirl to see like if it would be possible. So the game's actually pretty clean. I was actually surprised to see how shiny it was when we laid the camera down.
Yeah, it looked good.
But I think for now, I will just pop my wax open and we will just lay down a coat or two of wax and maybe start addressing something else. While I was blabbing about something, I did go through and check every single one of the general illumination sockets and they're good. So not worried there. I don't know what it is about the construction between the two sockets. I mean, I do know what it is, right? The other lamp sockets, they're built a little different with the general illumination sockets are a single pole, right? Let me grab one. Let's just lift the game up. There's just something that's beefier. I don't know what it is, but these sockets don't tend to have a problem, right? General illumination, we've got one side of the AC coming here, then you've got the other side of the AC coming in at the pole. But these guys are just different, and they get lazy, right? We went over this, the gunk that builds up between everything. But I just have a lot less problems with these guys compared to these guys.
Oh, I can't catch up.
Dang lazy lamp sockets.
So Kyle,
yeah.
AnyPin suggested, what about a small sheet of Mylar to cover the entire area?
Yes, I could do that, but I think if I did that, I'd want to like maybe try to address some of that black that's coming up, because this would be pretty easy to match. I don't know. Well, we'll see. I might end up doing that because that will prevent it from like getting exponentially worse, but you know, I don't think this game will ever go on location. Maybe if I'm feeling very ambitious, this game will have a new playfield in it one day. And I'm not too worried about it, right? In the home or inside this studio for us to play, it's not going to get worn out at the same rate it would if it was getting played all the time constantly. New pinballs.
Pin guy asked, how would you repair the paint? Or should you? A lot of people do.
A lot of people do, but here's the thing. This is a cheap game, so I should, think about like, well, it was cheap, so I could spend a little bit of time and make it nice. But at the same time, I could buy a brand new playfield for this game for $800, and maybe, there's a monetary investment and then another monetary investment of my time. I could make it really nice by investing my time and a little bit more money, and it would just be infinitely nicer than what it is now. The one reason I probably would not touch this playfield up, let's go back to the small camera, and we've talked about this before, is like, just look at all this ball swirl. I'm not going to take that off. To take that off, we would have to use the magic eraser again, cut through all the varnish, cut through some of the paint, and then touch up whatever we screw up, and then we'd need to clear coat it. That takes a ton of time. This thing is so uniformly destroyed that it's just not worth doing. Right? I would rather make it, sealed in as much as we can and then just enjoy it for what it is. This game isn't rare. This game isn't particularly valuable. And there's a new playfield available for it. So it would kind of just be a waste of time to me to do all that stuff. I don't know. It's personal opinion. If we were working on like a really cool or rare or, Gottlieb or something that you'll never get a new playfield for, then absolutely, I would spend the time to go through and try to touch that playfield up if it mattered to me. But I also don't particularly find this to be bothersome. A lot of people really want all their games to be super pristine and not a single blemish and stuff like that, but I'd rather have a game that just plays well. Even if it looks like crap, if it plays good, then I'm happy. So
if you're looking to see how to actually do something like that on your game, I'm sure there are plenty of YouTube tutorials that tell you how to match paint and how to do it properly and safely. And then, of course, there are a bunch of amazing people that do that professionally, restore pinball machines. And
yeah, there's a lot of people.
Significant pin, like maybe this was a pin that, your grandfather gave your dad, gave you, and you want to keep this exact machine in condition, then you can go out to those sources. Hey, Kyle, did you ever try the Blitz wax?
No, I've never actually tried Blitz wax, but Blitz wax is just a carnauba wax, and I have some pure carnauba wax I'm about to bust out right now.
Oh, yep. And Axel, he is using Novus 2 to clean the playfield.
Yeah, this thing's really grody. So
tried and true, Novus 2. Oh, is that their tagline? It should be.
I think you need to sell that to them, that's for sure.
Hey, Novus.
I'm just getting the rest of the crud off.
Marketing
I've spent a lot of time kind of scrubbing and trying to get some of this stuff off for a while. So yeah, there are people that are like extraordinarily talented at touching up playfields, but like I said, with this one, there's so much ball swirl, it's just not worth doing, right? You'd end up having a part of the playfield, or a bunch of the playfield looking like crud, and then one spot looking, really nice. So, again, I'd rather enjoy this game than have a show-stopping winner. So.
And Kyle uses Novus 2 to clean so many different parts of the pinball, not just the plastics or just the playfield.
Yep.
Axel was asking, I thought Novus was really only for plastics. And it's like, Novus is use it for everything, right, Kyle?
Yeah, it's gentle. It's slightly abrasive in the way that is gentle enough to take up years and years worth of nasty on your playfield without doing any damage. Now, again, we've talked about this a bazillion times. If you put some Novus on an orbital buffing pad. Oh, I'm off camera. Hey, if you put it on like an orbital buffing pad and held it there, it's going to sand all the artwork off your playfield. Sure, but with my wimpy little arms and a rag, I'm not going to be taking stuff off. You do need to beware, though. Like, if your game does look like this, where and how you rub the dirt off the playfield, you can take off and make things worse, right? You don't want to be pushing your rag around these spots that are damaged a lot, because you might just happen to get some of the fibers of the rag to get underneath the paint and lift some up, and you'll start causing more damage. So just be careful. But again, this game was cheap, and I'm going to make it as nice as I can without putting a ton of work into it. Until I can get a playfield or a hardtop, which I very much look forward to at some point. Because it is not, other than that, it's actually not so bad. I mean, the back glass is shot, but put on the small camera if you would.
Yep.
The cabinet is a little bit faded. Well, whatever, you don't play the cabinet. It's pretty nice in the back. It starts to fade out in the front, but I did spend a bunch of time with some Novus on the cabinet, and it got all of the nasty dirt and stains out. And it actually looks pretty...
Nice, with just a Novus.
With just Novus and a rag.
Nice.
I didn't do too well here. I mean, this is all hand dirt, right? That's all skin, I guess. But
looks bloody.
I was able to clean up the entire game, taking care not to remove the graffiti. Pinball graffiti is like my favorite thing. So someone paid $100 in 1983 into the South Carolina Tax Commission to operate this game.
Hey.
Thankfully, it's not too much more expensive now, but yeah, I don't remember what I was doing. Oh, I was going to bust out my wax, which is right here. If you're going to wax a game, I'm not going to do a tutorial on how to wax a game, but use something that is not a cleaner wax. A lot of times you'll go to a car shop and get some, the Meguiar's cleaning wax solution or something. And cleaner waxes are a little bit abrasive. So you do not want to use that. You want to use as little abrasion. You want to use as little abrasive stuff as you possibly can. So,
Wow,
I don't know.
that jar is a lot bigger than I thought it was.
Oh,
Based
yeah.
off the picture, I thought it was like a tiny little can, and I was like, why is this tiny little can $30?
It's nothing fancy. I mean, but that's the thing is like pure carnauba wax is expensive, and that's what this is. Where like a can here, I've got a can of it over here, and this, I guess if you do have some cleaner wax and that's all you have or something, you can use that on playfields that are mylar, right? There's nothing wrong with polishing your mylar or something.
Thanks, Midge. I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, a lot of people are asking about the magic eraser and naphtha. We did this ball swirl experiment
On this thing.
episode on Strikes and Spares where we go through all of the different cleaning agents and talk about it and try different techniques based off of what everyone's saying in the chat. So if you missed that, hit that link and check it out. And you can see.
Yeah, I mean,
everything we tried to do.
It does work wonders, but again, you also are damaging and degrading the playfield to try to get rid of some of that dirt. So this game was so dirty that cleaning it with Novus was a good idea. Once you've got a game very, 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 very clean, and it's waxed, you can clean it with some naphtha on a rag. It's just picking up dirt at that point. The Novus is, I'll use the Novus for everything, but a Novus is essential for a very deep clean. Back to wax really quick, but like right, if you go to the car store and you find something like this and it says cleaner wax, there are other additives in here to try to buff old car paint, which is a lot thicker than pinball silkscreen ink. So I wouldn't use this on a game that does not have Mylar on it or something like that. Let's just play it real safe. It's like unless it has like an actual thick sheet of plastic, don't use this on your pinball game. If you do want to wax it for whatever reason, something that is pure carnauba paste is good. Blitz wax, I've heard many great things about, but I can also get something that lasts a lot longer in a tub. And it works out well. But since it is pure carnauba paste, this is expensive. This is cut with other things, right? So this is going to cost you like $18, $15. This tub is like a $30-something tub of pure carnauba wax. So it's pricey. It goes a long ways, though. You don't need a lot of wax to do this kind of a work. So.
Yeah, Adams is asking if you ever tried the Wizard's Mist that JJP recommends.
No, but I'd never use anything liquid on my game that isn't controllable. I made this mistake and said don't use anything water-based, but Novus is water-based, but Novus is a paste, so it's controllable. On a JJP game, that makes sense because they have an automotive thick clear coat on them. So there's less chance of your liquid to seep through and infect the wood, right? Water and wood do not match. Go outside and look at the steps to your house or your deck.
CNK, what's up? CNK says that other stuff, the red can stuff is what he has, and missed the part where you don't advise it.
Well, here's the thing, right? I don't advise it because it is abrasive, but at the same time, it does the job, right? So you use it at your own peril. I have used that before on pinball games, and I've not removed all my art, but you do need to just be cognizant that it is slightly abrasive, and you know it is cutting into the finish and cutting into the artwork that is on your pinball game.
So just be careful.
Just be careful. You can use it, you know, just really be cognizant of what you're doing and what you are using. Some pro tips on waxing is like, I don't wax my games a lot, and I usually don't tell people to do it unless they really want to try. But this game's grody. Let's put a decent little coat of wax on it, right? Wax is not a substitute for a clear coat or anything. It's going to make the gameplay a little zippier. It is going to protect and hydrate a little bit, but we're not putting on like a thick protective layer like an actual clear coat is. I do like to wax games when they are mostly taken apart. This game isn't totally taken apart. But you want to avoid getting the nasty
Loose
pasty
lip.
goop like inside your switch slots. You want to try to avoid getting it on your switch blades and stuff like that. It's gross. It attracts dirt. It makes games dirtier quicker. You want to make sure that you do buff all, wipe on, wipe off, right? You want to make sure you get all of it off before you really start playing the game, or else it will just start turning into a messy, dirty mess. Now, this game is going to be particularly difficult to wax thoroughly because of all these...
Real quick.
Yeah.
Loose Flip says hi.
Oh,
Gotta
hello.
give a shout out to Loose Flip. I love Loose Flip.
I keep missing all of your streams on Sunday. I'm so busy, but I can't wait to watch you play again soon.
Yay. Oh, yeah. And pro tip from Niles, you can use old clean socks for applying your wax. Fits like a glove.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your socks,
I think I've said this a few times. Like, I personally do not like applying Novus with these microfiber rags. They don't seem to have enough nap to get in and like really wipe a lot of the dirt away, but these are excellent for buffing and they're excellent for waxing. They work well, but I like to have an old dirty rag to do a lot of my Novus work with.
What does that wax smell like? Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Carnauba?
Smells like carnauba, not like lemons.
No. What does it have ingredients? It's a flammable solid. Huh.
Don't light it up.
Oh, this company's on the Dixie Highway. That's pretty funny.
How many calories? Leaf Carrot asked. Leaf Carrot, stop eating.
Probably a lot.
Stuff.
Probably a lot. It's a dense nutrient. One of my favorite channels on YouTube is a dude that like does like old Americana stuff or like, roadside attractions and stuff like that. But he just did a series of videos where he drove the entirety of the Dixie Highway, which before like the big interstate system was the way you would connect. I think it connects like Florida to the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. So I don't know. I saw Dixie Highway and it's like, oh, hey, I've seen that before. What I was going to say about why this is so particularly difficult is now, especially like Novus, and let's do the small cam really quick. This is a pro tip whether you're like using Novus or wax, but these star inserts, if you get these things gummed up at all, they can perform very poorly. So I would suggest when cleaning or doing anything around these inserts to do it just with care. And try not to jam them full of wax. They are very difficult to clean when they are packed full of nasty. And they are overall, they're a gigantic pain in the ass to replace too. Oh, I'm sorry. I used a non-radio friendly word. Knock that man a day's pay. They are very difficult to replace. The actual stars can be okay. Sometimes you have to trim, like if you tried to put one of these new stars inside of the old insert, you sometimes have to trim them to get them to work right. It can be a pain. Replacing the insert is a massive pain, but they are all usually pretty broken. So I try to just always treat them with as much care as possible. But when we do the wax on around these, I'm just going to try to avoid them. And when we do the wax off, I am going to try to also avoid wiping the wax into the holes. But yeah. But anyways, someone said something about that wizard mist, though. I've never used it. I always just use Novus. Is it like a car product or what? Like, what is it? Is it something like Jersey Jack has formulated to use like for pinball?
The mist, I believe they did. Oh, Dos Amigans rating with a party of 8. Thank you.
Hey, thanks. We're making the most compelling content of me rubbing this pinball machine with wax.
Ask him. I don't want to ask him. He's going to be like, what? Kyle.
Yes.
Have you ever used Pledge?
No, but a lot of old EM people swear by that stuff.
No,
it's weird. I don't know. I've got my method that I've been taught and I've also been using for a long time now. and I will just stick with it because the novice and an occasional wax has never, ever, 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 ever done me wrong.
He didn't freak out as much as we thought he would. So there's that.
Again, it's like if you want my two like the things to take away if you want to listen to my opinion for whatever reason. Don't use anything liquid. You cannot control liquids. Is naphtha a liquid? Yes, but naphtha you pour onto the rag, and the rag controls it, and it also evaporates very quickly. Water does not evaporate that way, and things that are a liquid cleaner generally are water-based, and they will run and they don't evaporate like naphtha will. So that's what I have to say about that. I'm gonna put a little bit of wax here on the shooter lane. I actually haven't really cleaned the shooter lane, but it's also just a disgusting mess, so I'm not too worried about it. But hey, small camera really quick, would you?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten anything done. I've gotten a little done.
Ew.
It's just grody. Wood is layered. So when they machine this out, you are going, this is very grainy. So that's why a lot of dirt gets rubbed in here. I'm going to get my novice rag. I'm going to see if I can clean this up at all. But that stuff doesn't bother me so much. I think it's very hilarious when people are selling a pinball machine and they include all these super close-up pictures of the shooter lane. It's like,
oh yeah,
I've never had fun playing this game. Let me prove it by showing the ball has never traveled up and down this lane. But sometimes you can.
For everything. Wildman asked, would you use naphtha before novice? I can't remember the
no
process.
I'd use novice novice is gonna clean off all of the dirt, carry it away, and leave a shiny surface after you buff it. Naphtha is going to take away all of the non-ingrained dirt, and that would be something better to use after you have waxed or already done like a big thing of novice and you've played the game for a while and it's starting to get nasty again. That actually cleaned up a lot.
Oh, it's pretty.
Might not be able to tell, but it actually has.
Yeah,
that dirt has come out. And that's why it's important to use kind of a nappy cloth when doing this, as opposed to like a t-shirt for novicing or something like that. Because the t-shirt is smooth, and there's no way all of the little strands and fibers will be able to reach in and kind of touch all surfaces of this shooter lane. Not that this is doing a great job either, but it is kind of.
Gary Smith wants to know if he can use hot butter on his playfield.
Absolutely.
Whatever you want, Gary. Just don't blame us.
Has to be extra salted, though, because salted butter is superior.
Unsalted butter doesn't work too well.
Use that expensive European roll butter.
Carrot over to eat it. That's what will happen.
Ooh, that's what can cure my bad mood today, is eating something just slothed and covered in butter.
Oh, yeah. Like
maybe I'll make Okay, one of my favorite foods, it takes like zero effort and it's delicious, is just making baked sweet potatoes. And all you need to do is add like a little bit of butter, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and man, that's a good snack.
Dang, I might make some baked potatoes today. For
sweet potatoes?
I can't do sweet potatoes, but...
What?
Regular potatoes.
What's wrong with the sweet potato?
I think I'm allergic.
Oh, really?
I'd love to eat sweet potatoes. Every time I try, though, it doesn't go well.
Here's something. Let's do a little bit of this, too, because it's important.
Now we're all hungry.
I'm sorry, I'm starving.
Buttery bacon potatoes.
Oh, yeah, if you don't have any carnauba wax, use...
the tried and true microfiber cloth that we do sell on our site.
Yes. It's a great all-purpose cloth. But usually the things that are all-purpose are good at everything and not great at one thing. But this, if you're going to keep anything around, a microfiber cloth is the thing to keep around. This isn't too dirty, but you do need to be very careful when cleaning the aprons and the shooter gauges. Hold on, let me see if I can angle this down. You're not looking at my knees.
My knees, that's what it is.
Can you kind of see this? Sort of. So remember, this is just straight silkscreen ink on metal. If you are going to clean this, I do like using Novus because Novus is a very light abrasive and it will clean well. But don't go sit there and start scrub, because you're going to do that, and then the last wipe you do is going to be missing a huge streak of all of your ink here. So for something like that, do you see that nasty little dot here on the tip of the arrow? I mean, just light scrubs and just see what happens. If I was using a white towel, look at that. I did start to take off some of that yellow paint there.
No, Kyle, you destroyed it.
Oh, that's just what happens, right? I'd rather have it be kind of clean and not spotchy than be like really dirty looking. But you need to be aware or just be cognizant that yellow ink is the weakest ink. Yellow ink comes off like when you sneeze on it. So be careful.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what it is.
Why yellow? Huh.
Well, and the yellow inks are also very, very, they're bad on the back glasses too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Case in point, I mean, look at the flesh-colored tone,
like,
right?
She's corroding.
Chipping away.
Chipping away.
But, just gentle little strokes, and you should be able to get some of this dirt off. But this is something you need to do with an abundance of caution. Because it is very easy to screw these up, and it is extraordinarily difficult to find replacements. You can get like adhesive decals and stuff like that, and that's definitely better than nothing, but we're trying to preserve what we have. So, and I'm going to call that okay. Thankfully, the rest of the apron is actually in pretty fair condition. So, not going to worry about it.
Colin asked, why not use the alcohol instead of Novus on that part?
Because I've never done that before, and I don't know how alcohol or naphtha will affect that. But I do know how Novus will, so I'm comfortable gently using Novus on that.
Yeah. So
if you have
really
used
careful.
alcohol or naphtha, is that a good alternative?
Does anyone have any suggestions on that? Jonathan said, oh no, Kyle is totally right about that. Apron paint can come off. How do I know?
I'm sorry, that's sad. Actually, here, let me show you a really sad apron. I just
try to make you feel better, Jonathan, and everyone else who's unfortunately discovered this.
It won't make you feel better, but this is unsalvageable.
Indeed, Leafgate, indeed.
Which camera is on? This one? I just bought a Dolly Parton.
Oh.
And this is very sad because you just can't fix this, right?
Why? Wash it.
Well, the ink, I mean, look, like there's no more pink left. This is what color it was like 10 shades ago. And this is all.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
What?
Sad, huh? It's faded and then it's also rusty. So there's not much to do to save this guy. This one I will probably have to put an apron on. No, I'll probably put a decal on it because I need to get Dolly, together. But there's not much you can do to this. Unless someone has a Dolly Parton apron that is in better shape than this, and that shouldn't be very hard to find, I will pay dearly for it. So let me know.
There you go.
I mean, maybe some Novus rubbing will get it to be kind of pink, but it's just not.
Oh. Yeah, Colin said he's used alcohol on the apron, no issues.
Huh, okay. I'll give it a shot next time, but not on this one.
I'm also excited for Thirsty Thursday, as per usual.
Oh, me too.
Indie Pins asked, are you back? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
How do you have that apron propped up? I tried it once, but it interfered with the ball ejector relay or something else. I don't remember.
Oh, just be careful. I have it set. There's no wires on the front bit of these Bally playfields, so I've got it very gently resting on these brackets here. But you do want to be careful when rubbing or cleaning or doing something with the playfield in this position because it only takes a little bit of force this way to have the whole thing go plunk. So that can be alarming. Another service position I'll use on these Bally games that have traditional slingshot brackets like this not linear ones, is pull the playfield forward and very gently, carefully rest the playfield on the slingshot brackets. Now, you don't want to do anything where you're pushing or forcing the playfield around in this position because you're stressing the brackets. You know, they're not meant to be a load-bearing thing, but this is a comfortable place to work on some of the things in the back of the playfield, as long as you're cognizant of, you know, you are balancing it there. It's a lot sturdier than using the prop rod. The prop rod, again, it only supports on one side, so it's wobbly and bouncy. So this is one way. Two other positions I'll service the playfield in. That being said, the Bally games do have very shallow a very shallow pitch to the actual playfield. You know, when you pitch the game, you're really doing the cabinet. Where like even on a modern Stern game, if you have the legs like all the way bottomed out, it still, you know, has a good pitch this way, just because of the way the playfield's positioned. This is a totally reasonable way to service the playfield on these games. But yeah, it's looking nice and cloudy, so now I can start buffing off. But yeah. This is turning into Playfield Cleaning Episode 2.
I know, right?
That's good. I feel like we're getting different questions and I'm giving some different answers, so.
Yeah.
It's really like, you know, the one thing I can say is just do it, right? Go buy a really crummy game and experiment in places, right? Like we experimented on this game doing all of the Magic Eraser stuff way down at the bottom where, you know, the ball meets the out hole. So the little bit of damage we did to the playfield, you'll never see it. But go get a crummy, dirty, nasty game and clean it, and then you'll be able to gather these techniques and use them effectively the next time you get another dirty, crummy, old game. That seems to be a common thing for me right now, is getting a lot of dirty, crummy, old games. So I'm glad I'm getting to use these, put these skills back to use. But seriously, if anyone has a dolly apron, get to me. I could use any dolly parts. If anyone has any parts specific to a dolly, let me know. I will pay.
Yes, CNK, if you are not in our database, if anyone is not in our pinball technician database and you guys as a business service pinball machines in your area, so repair or restore any of those things, check out the front page of our website. Down off to the right side, you'll see the pinball technician database. You can sign up, and we don't have this database public yet. It is something that we are talking about and working on, but we are keeping a Rolodex of pinball technicians from across the globe. So when our customers call in and say, hey, I have an issue with my pin, you know anyone in my neighborhood, we look at our Rolodex, we send them your information. It's a win-win for everyone, you know, to keep the pinballs happy and alive. So please sign up for it. I'll even drop a link.
Drop the link.
I'll drop a link. Join our database. And then also, too, if you're spending a lot of money at Marco with your business, your repair restoration business, and you spend over, I want to say over $3,000 a year in pinball parts, then you can sign up for our commercial account, which gives you an automatic 5% off of almost everything. And if you spend even more than that, the discounts increase. So if you're not already taking advantage of that, you need to. There's the link right there. Oh, I think that went in.
Wow. It looks like crud and it's still really shiny. Wax does a good job. In the future, like as I put this game back together, I probably will maybe, you know, put another coat on the high traffic area or something like that. But heck, for now, I think I'm going to start actually, I'll put posts back on and stuff. I will be putting some warm white LEDs in all of the general illumination spots here, but I just bought some more warm white LEDs and I don't have them in my parts box. They're all sitting right next to my Grand Prix at home, which I am currently doing the same exact thing on. So many projects concurrently. So
when you're working on cleaning your Grand Prix, what beer do you have with you? It's a very popular question in the chat. A
No,
lot
it's
of
good.
people are
Everyone,
wanting to get
when
to
I'm
the
at home,
cerveza stand.
generally I am only drinking beer from my my good friends at Beer Keller, a German brewery here in Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, that's awesome, Sandy.
Lots of time. I mean, that's just it though. Like, I really like nice, simple German lagers, but I have enjoyed a few other. I've been drinking a lot of Bell's beer just because I am a new transplant to the East Coast, and I can get a lot of stuff I couldn't get back where I used to live. So, you know, a little bit of everything. Being from California, I'm just sick of IPAs. Everything is an IPA. It's just they all taste the same now, so I don't care anymore. But the East Coast does make a few fine IPAs, that's for sure.
Do you ever buy beer just based off of how cool the artwork on the cans are?
Always. Always, always, always.
That's how I would do. Yeah, there's quite a few that have like pinball designs on them and stuff. It's like,
Yeah, there was a brewery from somewhere up North Carolina or something that my friends at one of the arcades here local had a couple cans of, and that was tasty. Oh, that's a Woods
Marco
through.
does not sell beer.
We should though.
Which is, yeah, you would think we did based off of how much beer talk happens on this pinball tech stream, thanks to mostly Kyle and Mr. Baxter.
Let's be honest. It is the next to water. It's the best drink.
Talking about his Croatian beer.
These.
Leaf Care said, "I heard for 1,000 bits, Kyle will say y'all and reckon." Hey, Kyle's becoming a bona fide honorary Southerner. Every day he spends in South Carolina. He's over his 1-year anniversary, right? Right about now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think I moved
heard him
here.
Say, y'all. He's wearing flannel now, y'all.
Okay, no.
2 weeks in a row.
It's cold. It's South Carolina cold right now. So it's like 30 degrees at night and then like 50 degrees. Actually, it's raining today, so it's like 60 degrees. But
I could go for some good cheese grits with bacon bits in it right now.
I don't know. I don't know how to quantify. I like flannel. I have a lot of flannel shirts. I am from the Bay Area where it is constantly chilly all the time. So we're always layering. So, you know, what's wrong with my flannel? Everyone's, just because I look like a homeless guy most of the time, and as soon as I put on a shirt that has no holes in it, everyone's like, "Oh, Mr. Fancy Pants today."
I love flannel. That's like 99% of my wardrobe is just flannel shirts.
So as I go along here, right, I might end up buying or getting more posts because there is a lot of visible posts on this game. But what I normally will do is we'll be putting, actually put on the handy cam, right?
Yes.
So, okay, like as a player's perspective, right, we can kind of see, or hopefully you can see, like where the posts used to be.
Wait, can you be a shorter player? Because not many people are 6'7" players.
How many people are this tall? Okay, if you're like this tall, you're going to see these posts with the slingshot plastics on. You're going to see this group. You're going to see all these guys, right? The first 2/3 of the playfield, with the red ones, it makes a difference when you look up close. But like if we were looking at a Gottlieb game, I mean let's look at a Gottlieb game because we can. This is just something I like to do on games when you're trying to make them nice, but you're not trying to do the whole kit and caboodle. Like look at 2001, right? These posts, if anyone has an old Gottlieb, you'll know what these things look like when they're old. They're supposed to be a nice smooth white plastic, but when they get old, they turn into like a chalky gray. Like I've spilt 1 drop of milk or coffee into my cup of milk, and it's just like a little dingy, nasty looking. And like, so on this game, on these Gottlieb games, you really need to kind of replace all of them. But I can guarantee you, like the 3 posts that are back here are still old. Why? You can't see them. Is that being cheap? Probably. But is that something you can do just to make a game look that much nicer? It totally is. I think we talked about that a little bit when we were working on this thing too.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's just something I like to do. If you're not going to go for the whole gambit or something. So that's why I am doing that here. Should I be wasting so much time thinking about where the nice posts should go and the crummy ones go? No, because they only cost 80 cents. But
Hey man, you might have to save that for pinball on
yeah,
location.
apparently, since I said I wanted one, there might be a newer Stern game coming into my life at some point. So I gotta pinch my pennies now.
Mm-hmm.
I've only I didn't even get my TNA new. Like I kind of wanted to go the rest of my life
Yeah,
not having
2001's
new
awesome.
pinball games, but it's so hard when so many of these new games are just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
All right, so Kyle's putting on the post. Does anyone have any questions? We're about 20 minutes to the end of the stream, so if you want to start asking him random questions,
I should come over and look
you
at
guys
the
have been
chat.
asking random questions this whole show today, which is great.
Hey,
Which is
Bat
great.
Out of Hell by Meatloaf.
Yep, he's here. He's gonna send you some beer from Maine, maybe. And Glomelly has a keg of Bell's Hop Slam at their arcade. Who else had some?
See, that's what I need to go
Valley
buy.
81 is having a Hansa beer.
Oh, I need some Hop Slam. I might go to the grocery store just to try to buy some Hop Slam.
Adam Foltz just bought himself a Hakko FR301.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
I'm gonna tell you now. Go and buy an extra tip, and buy an extra set of the little foam filter guys that live at the back of the canister. You'll thank me later.
Nice. That's the 301, right?
Yeah, this guy.
Nolan said, Kyle, can you please make that spring flap in the middle of the Sopranos safe? Well,
Spring flaps are annoying. They're very, very difficult to get reproduced without die cutting them, which is how they are done, I think, from the factory, or at least back in the day. Nowadays, water jet might be a possibility, but we do not have a local supplier that has been able to do that. So we are looking elsewhere and working on that currently. I don't know if I have a sample of that, but if I could get a sample, I could probably get one made. I did just recreate the, along the line somewhere, Stern decided that the way that they had the safe on Sopranos sucked because the plastic broke all the time. So they recreated it as like a metal piece, and I just had that remade. So if you don't have one of those already, that's a decent upgrade. What I'm doing here with the plastics is trying to figure out where.
We just got a message in from the higher up saying we will have a complete line of flaps available.
There will be. We're working on it. We did find one supplier, and I know we've gotten a couple of them in, and they are good. It's just a matter of having samples, right? We have drawings. We have like actual technical drawings of a lot of the, or not technical drawings, but you know what I mean, like a schematic or so for a lot of those flaps. So we're working on getting through all of those first, and then once we're through with all the ones we have drawings for, then we'll submit the samples that we have. So yes, that is on the list of things to do for 2021.
That's awesome.
It's like, I don't know, they're annoying, right? Because you have to, has anyone ever cut a ramp flap before themselves?
But so necessary.
It's not impossible to do, but it's just not fun. So I don't know. I've always cut them. It's going to be so nice to just be able to buy them. Someone had this.
I'm sure everyone will agree, yeah.
Here's another thing I'm going to do. Throw on that small camera real quick.
Yeah.
Bally Games had like a liberal and a conservative set of holes to put your posts, right? So the conservative place for this post would be further down, thus widening the out lane. This post was installed here. This playfield looks like junk. Now, not that I want it to be easier, I'm going to install this post here just because it will cover up this nasty bit. You know what I'm saying?
But then it shows the nasty bit on the other side.
No, because that's going to be under a plastic.
Uh,
Right? So,
yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking about that, and generally I try to make games, especially ones that are going to live in my house, like as humanly difficult as possible, which then makes my wife mad. Eska, if you're watching, I'm sorry about Twilight Zone. I'm sorry you hate it so much. But I do want to... We're going to try to make this thing look okay. Maybe we should do one of those things where we just take a game and get it for cheap and then try to flip it. And we let the people that are buying it, they don't know what we're trying to do. And we can see how nice we can make a crummy game. But that goes against my mantra of never selling a pinball game that I own again. So I don't know about that.
Pin Daddy asked, why does Marco only sell coil sleeve sets for certain games? Are there any special reasons some games have them and others don't?
Yes, because there are build lists for pretty much every coil sleeve kit that we have comes from like the bill of material from a game. If you needed a coil sleeve kit, send an email and we could try to put one together. It's kind of the same way we do rubber kits. We go on the information that we have to try to make something as accurate as possible. And coil kits are actually pretty easy because at least with a coil kit, you're or a coil sleeve kit, you can't get a rubber off by like a 1/4 inch or something. So, I don't know. What game do you have? What are you looking for?
What's up, DeWisp? Welcome.
Howdy. They're good to have, but at the same time too, if you got a couple games, you buy it. Just go ham wild and use our 36th anniversary sale to go and buy, a dozen or 5 of each coil sleeve that you find useful, and then you'll be set for life, or at least a while.
Hey, Leaf Carrot, if you're looking for some video content of seeing a finished full restore from a garbage banger to something beautiful, then check out Kerry Hardy's YouTube page. He does a full series on that. So I think he did a Swords of Fury one, a Getaway, High Speed.
Or Leaf Carrot,
Getaway
if you want to
2,
see a garbage game turn to something nice, go watch the first really bad episodes we did of roller games, and then go to Transmission Arcade and play roller games, and you'll see the difference.
There you go. So, yep. Watch our very first episode 001 of
Where
roller games.
It was like half an episode
come
because
on down to Columbia, South Carolina, go to Transmission and play the game that you saw.
He does live here. Leaf Carrot is a local. He is a constant winner of the Transmission Arcade pinball tournaments because that guy's...
that's right, because Leaf Carrot was talking about Portal Pinball's non-souped up. What game was that? It was like some Olympic themed game.
Oh, The Games.
That Brian just got. Oh, The Game.
Gottlieb, yeah. The Games.
The Games.
What a creative title. I just filled in this hole using a dowel, so now I'm trying to line up. It's kind of easy because the dowel's soft.
How dare you?
What's wrong?
Bring up such sensitive topics. Independent said, "Is that the episode where you spent most of the time resolving the audio issues?"
Yep. And then like 3/4 of the way through, my phone, which we were using as a camera, overheated.
Yeah.
And then my screen like now permanently has a really screwed up burn mark in it because it like melted and restarted while we were filming. So I still haven't gotten a new phone. Maybe I should do that this weekend. It'll make me feel good.
Yeah, you want to see a close-up of the doweling?
Yeah, let's find another screwed up hole. I can probably do that in the next 10 minutes. Now, here we go. Here's an opportunity to use a crummy post because I won't be able to see that one. But at the same time, I work where these posts live. I feel like this isn't a lesson I need to be forcing on people. We should just replace our posts because they don't cost much and it makes the game look that much better. So let me find a crappy hole. If you ever are tightening something down and you think that the screw should be bottomed out and it does not bottom out, don't just kind of shrug your shoulders and say, just fix it. go get a 3/16 dowel. I think that's what size they are. From the hardware store. Get a little bit of wood glue, and it will be a good thing. Let me find... Which one of these looks crappy? You know what? They all look crappy.
Oh, Leaf Carrot said, I just put 19K on that one. Coming for his skull.
I remember I got the high score that's on that game right now on a live stream. I think Steve and I were playing the game. And Dalton said, he's like, you know, I'll give you 10,000 bits or something if you can break 20 million or something. And then I did. And I was just like, I am good at pinball. Anyways, this, I'm trying to find like the best candidate.
Give us a shot with the hand.
This one's good. This is close enough where it could take a good direct hit from the ball.
Show me what you got.
Let's look at this really quick, and then we will dowel a hole. So a lot of games will use mixtures of posts, not only like in size, post, screw, whatever, but the threads will also be different. So these posts down here use a T-nut, which have a machine thread, instead of using a wood screw, which just creates its own path and holds itself in via the tension of the wood. So you will notice that there are multiple T-nutted, let's use that as a descriptor, holes in this game.
T-nutted.
And a lot of these ones are going to be where the ball will have a high chance of striking it directly. The T-nuts are very strong compared to a wood screw, right? That's why a lot of these wood screws are loosey-goosey, because the ball keeps slamming into it and it keeps widening the hole. So you'll notice, like on all these lane guide posts here in the pop bumper action zone, all of these use T-nuts because these things are constantly getting slammed with force. Anywho, it's a good idea. The reason I was kind of like trying to selectively figure out which one I wanted to put the T-nut in was just, or the dowel, is because some of these aren't bad, right? But this one is kind of blown out. It is kind of in a direct line from a flipper, so let's fix it.
Where is it? Can you point out which one we're doing?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna lay the camera down.
Okay.
Maybe.
Mr. Loaf asked, are there any advantages to doing this dowel trick over just installing T-nuts underneath and putting a new machine screw post?
Yeah, because there's not a lot of room to put T-nuts everywhere, right? The reason T-nuts aren't everywhere is because it's an involved process. It will raise the cost of manufacturing, and sometimes there's just physically not room for a T-nut. If we were to install a T-nut here, we would need to drill this hole bigger so the shank of the T-nut would actually fit. And it's just, there's no reason to, really. You know, in a perfect world, yeah, I guess everything would use a T-nut and we'd never have this problem. But I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So sometimes what I'll do, we'll have our dowel, right? I will kind of cut it in a point a little bit. So we'll kind of have a like a driving spearhead or something like that. And that'll allow us to really kind of wedge this thing down in there. So once we have the dowel kind of set up and it will go into the hole, we will get our wood glue. And I will put a teeny bit of wood glue here onto the end. You don't need to overdo this. You don't want a bunch of glue glopping out over the top of the playfield and stuff like that. It's a pain in the butt. We've got our gluey dowel here. Stick it in. Do a little bit of rotation, right? To try to spread the glue around so it really will hold the dowel into the playfield. Get it down there nice and tight, and then what you'll do is you'll get your flush cutters and come in flush, right? We're going to try to cut this flush with the top of the playfield. Kind of need to use my other hand because it's got more strength.
Cut it.
And then the dowel flies up in the air and almost hits me in the head. Whee!
Good thing you have protective lenses on.
That's right. And now we've got a solid place to screw a screw in. I'm going to figure out, is this plastic? I think it goes like this. So that's just going to be a screw top. So I'm going to get a screw. I'm going to get a new post. And it is okay. You don't need to wait for this to dry or anything, right?
I was just about to ask that. I was like, it's still kind of gooey.
Yeah, well, what it is that, the birch plywood that they make playfields out of is very hard. This is soft. But what it is giving us is it is giving us something else for this screw to actually bite into, right? So now we're going to force this thing in here. It's going to cut its own way, and this soft dowel is going to just kind of, squish out into the playfield, and you'll be good. And you'll have a nice, secure post. You do need to make sure that you're inserting the point of the screw into the dowel, right, or the hole, because now you don't have like a leading hole anymore. You want to make sure you try to get it as accurate as possible, but they will kind of self-center, because like I said, you wouldn't be able to just screw this into the playfield as easy as I just did that. Ta-da!
Nice. That's fun.
You got to have one of those in your toolbox. It's just, your toolbox needs to have a dowel. It will save you on many occasions when you're repairing someone's old and broken pinball game.
Oh, just going back a little, Pin Daddy said it was the Zakaria games that he was looking for the coil sleeves for.
Oh. That might be harder. Those manuals aren't as flushed out as the Bally and Williams manuals of the same era are. So I don't know if I could potentially make one of those for you. Maybe though. Send me the game name and we might be able to do it off of pictures. But I definitely think, when in doubt, just buy a bunch of coil sleeves and you'll be happy you have them eventually. There's only a few. I mean, even if you wanted to be really lazy, you could just buy the longest ones and then cut them down and insert them. But that's not the most effective way to do this. But having a good assortment of coil sleeves at your disposal is going to make your life of pinball repair and ownership much easier, especially if you have multiple games.
I missed this one too. From good old Nolan. Asking, Kyle, would you be mad at me if I turned my NBA Fast Break into a Monster Bash?
Yes.
Oh.
Because you can go and buy a new Monster Bash, but you can't go buy a new NBA Fast Break. Yeah. Think about that one.
How dare you?
Monster Bash is such a fun game, though. I don't blame you for toying with this almost sacrilegious idea, but...
Dowel, is that a plastic thing? The dowels are wood, right? The little wooden dowels.
Yes.
CNK says, remember, if you change to T-nuts, you can't use the post with wood threads.
Yep. I mean, there are places where I will upgrade something to a T-nut if it's particularly bad, right? I think we even... I don't know. I don't know if we've ever done that on the show, because Emoto keeps asking, it's like, when can we try to install a T-nut and show people how to do that? But it's not something you need to do too often. I don't know. We'll find a time to do it.
You should put Dalek posts on strikes and spares.
What kind of post?
Kyle doesn't do stuff like that. Isn't it called I don't know. I'm not a Twilight Zone. The Dalek? Is it called a Dalek?
Oh, that's the Who.
Am I saying it wrong? Oh, the Who.
Or not the Who. Doctor Who. Sorry. The Who, Doctor Who, same thing. British.
Twilight Zone and Doctor Who are not game franchises that I have ever experienced. So, yeah, Kyle's also a fake gamer girl with, both of us. It's not games. Yeah, the Dalek. Midge has posted some Dalek posts.
I don't know what those... Can you pull that up? I want to come see. I'm curious now.
Dalek posts. Is that how you pronounce it, Midge?
Dalek? I think it's Dalek.
Look at these.
Oh my gosh. Those are so funny.
They're very
Wait,
cute.
pull that back up.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Are you going to, destroy those with a... That is so cute.
Put them in between your slings.
Oh man, Doctor Who is a game that I hate working on that thing. It's such a pain in the butt.
Doctor the Who. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Doctor Who is a fun game, but man, that game, is just a pain. I remember we bought a Doctor Who out of a laundromat once.
Dalek.
Dalek. When I used to be more handsome and I didn't have this crazy weird long hair, someone told me I used to look like one of the doctors from like 10 years ago or something. But I don't know. Maybe they were crazy. I should watch more Doctor Who. I have wanted to kind of like check that out, not like as just in passing or seeing it on TV.
How many Doctor Who's have there been? There's like 18 Doctor Who's,
There's
right?
a bazillion. That show's been on forever.
Who am I offending in the chat right now with this? Kevin Midge. Kevin Moore had another tip saying the other thing you can do is drill the post hole out and put a longer machine screw in, then use a washer and nut. If you don't want to drill a larger hole for a T-nut and hammer it in.
Yeah, no, I mean that is correct. I think there's nothing wrong with that, but I hate dealing with that because then it's not as simple as like servicing it from one side, right? If you were to do something like that and you wanted to remove this post, you would need to then work on one side and the other side. So it is a very secure way to fix a problem, especially if maybe you don't have a T-nut and you're on site trying to fix a game, or you need it to work. That is a good tip. But that's, the reason, we're doing all this stuff in the shop now. So if I needed to do that, I would much rather fix it the correct way since we're in the shop. This kind of stuff is so much easier when you've got a workbench and lights and stuff like that, compared to being in a loud arcade with a bunch of drunk people or annoying people around you. Anyway.
This is why everyone's talking about Doctor Who, is because you look like one of the first doctors, apparently.
Really? I do?
With
okay,
your
see, I told you.
Like that. And did you know that the Doctor Who table can chop your fingers off?
Yep. Warning. Keep fingers away from... I don't remember what it says anymore. Whenever I was working on that thing, I'd always just like fold up like a coaster and shove it into that switch so I could work on the damn game without having to, hold my hand somewhere weird. I hate that game. We bought a Doctor Who out of a laundromat, and I have never, ever, 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 ever seen a game more disgusting from like just not being destroyed, right? That game had so much soda spilt on the lockdown bar, right, that pooled up under the cash box while mixing all of that disgusting concoction with lint from a laundromat. Every single pour in that game was just stuffed full of lint. And then everything under the cash box and at the front was just this like weird, hard, like, oh God, I can remember that smell. It's so vivid in my...
But you can't hate Doctor Who because of that experience.
Yes, I can. That is an unreasonable hatred that I can hold.
It's not fair, Kyle.
It's a pain in the butt to work on. I'll hate it for that too. But yeah, I guess you're right. I shouldn't be hateful. I should be loving that game exists or something. This rubber's not even that old.
Jonathan said Indiana Jones almost mangled his finger in the totem. Goodness.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're not the first person, and that's why they had to put all these warnings on these games. Not that it's bad, right? You should have a warning because people are dumb, and dumb people do dumb things.
There's a video of Papa TV guys demonstrating the Doctor Who mini playfield shearing pencils.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Dude, I gotta look that up.
I think that's the difference. Remember when we were talking about with Steve Ritchie about the new Black Knight or the new Led Zeppelin toy and how like it can't get jammed? I think that's because there's like some load bearing thing in that motor that can like tell when it's not like moving up and down fast enough or something like that. So that's like when a ball gets in there, it'll be like, wait, that ain't right, and it'll go the other way or something. So unfortunately, Williams did not possess that technology, so. Yeah, I don't know. There are some things that are just like, that cause unreasonable hatred. And for some reason, that nasty lint smell
Dolly slide.
has always just ruined my thoughts of Doctor Who.
Well,
Ugh.
that's sad.
Ugh.
I'm sorry.
I remember one time I took one of my games out of a pizza parlor, and when I got it home to start working on it, I lifted the lockdown bar up, and there was like a bunch of small little chips of pepperoni, like petrified pepperoni, like underneath the lockdown bar, like kind of jammed in at the beer seal. And I was like, oh.
You could get a pepperoni splinter.
Oh, I was like, maybe I should bring this to the shop. I don't want this gross ass thing in my living room, but oh well. These plastics are really
right,
not
Kyle,
that bad.
It's that time.
Really? Oh man, I'm
It's
finally like.
it's your beer 30 time. It's
Yeah.
our get back to work time. It's everyone else's see we're gonna go raid time.
Fair enough. My
Is it
energy,
true
I finally got
Popeye
like a
saves the
second
world and
wind.
lop off a finger? Oh my gosh. So much finger decapitation going on.
Watch your fingers. It's your most important tool.
So, who do we want to raid after this, everyone?
Is Manu streaming?
Oh, there's no giveaway time for this show. Sorry, Kevin Moore. But, of course, you can always take advantage of our free domestic shipping for orders over $99. Code level 36 today for our 36th anniversary. And any orders that get put in today will get a little anniversary swag pack on their packages. So thank you guys so much for 36 years of awesome.
36 years of pinball.
Okay. Yep, Emoto has had enough.
Yeah.
Who are we gonna raid? Let's raid someone.
Emoto's like, let's raid someone so I can go.
Let's get some emotes up in their chat room. You know?
Who's streaming?
Oh, Kevin. You are a great customer to Marco. We appreciate it. So we have of course Mystery Pinball Theaters up. We have Laser Los, who we've never streamed before, is playing Popeye Saves the Earth. Wasn't
Oh
I was
god.
just talking about Popeye.
Or Popeye.
Live Catch Pinball is doing what is that? Twilight Zone? No. I can't tell.
If anyone wants to be
Adam's Family,
horrified
maybe?
and also like greatly amused, go to IPDB and read Python Angelou's original pitch idea for Popeye Saves the Earth. It's a text document, you know, like underneath all the ROM images and stuff. It's horrifying and hilarious.
Oh, Shadow. Duh. Nice. Okay, so do we want to go watch The Shadow? Do we want to go watch Popeye? Or Mousing Around?
I'd vote mousing around, but if you were gonna give,
Scared
if it was like, if you want to do it just by the game, I don't think anyone wants to watch Popeye. Or Popeye.
Thanks for joining us. Super Kmart wants to see Popeye.
Well, Super
The only
Kmart
person
needs to
that-
go. Maybe we should watch Popeye then.
Besides O'Malley? Popeye?
That game
I
is
don't
so
think we've
weird.
ever raided Laser Los before, so something new, right?
These plastics actually don't look so bad.
I'm sorry, we are not rating you, Mystery Pinball Theater 3000. We love your stream. I wish we could rate everyone at the same time.
Multi-streaming.
Yeah, multi-streaming raid. 5 of you
Multi-rating.
go over here, 5 of you go over there. 6 of us will go over here. Anyways, thank you everyone so much for joining us again for another episode of PinTech Live. Next week, we will be finally introducing Jungle Lord, which we are very excited to be working on this era of games on this show. Kyle is super stoked. Crystal will be with us doing our awesome Jungle Lord introduction. And Midge will be on the hot seat, sitting here talking to you, pointing at the camera and pointing at Kyle and doing all the fun things that I get to do.
Yep, it's going to be the
gonna be a
Steve and
great
Kyle
show.
show is back.
And then I'll be in the chat posting emotes and trolling like all y'all over there.
It's
All
going to
right.
be a great time.
It's going to be great. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.